welcome. Happy Tuesday. My name is David Sass. This session is about tips and tricks when we don't have local admin rights. This is my first time here and first time speaking, if you can't tell from my voice. Thank you. First thing first, thanks to the sponsors to support the conference and us and to you as well to be here and attend my session. I feel very special. Sorry. Again, my name is David Sass. Currently, I am an SRE. My previous title was a shadow architect on the public profile of the session. I started out as a SharePoint architect, spent some time in cybersecurity, got scared, and went to do something else. Currently, I'm working for Rancor. It's a German company doing software as a service stuff. And here I am presenting. This session is about when we don't have admin rights, and not having admin rights means that it's less fun because we can do what we want to do to get work done. And I believe work should be fun, and life should be fun. It's also a challenge that it's hard to find material which does not assume that you have admin rights. Like if you go and check the PowerShell one-on-one trainings on docs.microsoft.com, it starts elevating your access with UATs, and other sessions or training starts with you having domain admin even in the lab, and that's not realistic in day-to-day, especially at larger companies where security is even more tight than at small companies. So I'm trying to change that, and this session is just the start. The code that I'm going to share, it's on GitHub, and later it will grow and more stuff will be added. So you can check it out, or anyone watching this session 2 years from now can go and check out all the goodies, what we can do as non-admins on a workstation, or even on a server if that's the case. And there is also a fun side that if you don't have admin rights, you cannot really break stuff. So it's really hard to get into a situation where you need to update your CV because you broke something. Not that anyone will work at the company where this would be the situation. So the first tips for anyone starting out with PowerShell or trying to do their job is to don't give up. There will be errors, there will be red signs, red tapes preventing you to do stuff. Don't give up. There is always a way. Maybe you need to ask your local IT people or support to do some stuff on your machine with admin rights. Maybe update help, because that you can only do with local admin rights. You should always read the error messages, really, because they will tell you what's the problem, usually, at least with PowerShell. Use the search engine when you run out of ideas. PowerShell is 15 years old, so probably someone already Googled and solved that problem you are facing. It could have been me or someone next to you, actually. And customize PowerShell to your taste. Like red or error messages is bad for your mental health, and mine too. Yes, update help. That's basically the most important thing you need to do, because you want help, or I think you should want help in your PowerShell working, not because that works offline, and I think it's better than to browse in the browser. There are many great examples what you can do without admin rights. But I managed to not prepare any of them, sorry. Look out for the scope parameter on commands and do stuff on your current user, because that always works without local admin rights. And use my examples to elevate your game from GitHub. And with that, oh, my machine is slow. Let's do some stuff. I prepared a VM, actually 2 VMs, because I ruined my first one yesterday. I have my repo open. The good thing in GitHub is that I will get to that. I have the mandatory main with setjoy, that not having local admin rights is a setting. And to get started, you don't need VS Code and install software. Like at many places, you actually can't install software. Or if you want to use something new, you need to make a request and wait for that request to be processed and packaged so you can install it from Software Center. And while VS Code can be installed as a user, you could get into trouble if you do that. So you need to do a local risk assessment if that's going to get you into trouble or not. But PowerShell ISC is completely enough to get it started. And it's still perfect. And I believe on Monday, even our friends from Microsoft said that ISC is enough. And it's pre-installed unless someone decided to strip it out of Windows. I hope no one is that evil. Yes, you just type in ISC into the start search and you can get it opened. And the good thing with GitHub is that here we have a copy button, and I'm going to copy paste stuff, and this is what anyone should do getting started. I mean, it's a lot easier than to select strings. The first thing is we need to protect our bots. Even if we don't have admin rights, probably we still don't want to run a file we are using to experiment with things all around, which can happen because we have these 2 buttons here, run script and run selection. So what I usually do is I just put a throw no into the first line, and that way I cannot accidentally push the wrong button, because then I will have an error message and it will prevent doing things I don't want to do. I said we should customize our profile or our PowerShell console session, and we can do that with the profile file, which gets executed every time when we open PowerShell, except when we open it specifying that we don't want the profile to be executed. And profile is a special file located in the users documents folder inside the Windows PowerShell subfolder. And now I think I need to make this a bit smaller, not that bit. Which does not exist by default. So we need to create it, and there is a command for that, new item. When we try that, it will not work because the folder, that Windows PowerShell folder, does not exist by default. So we can use force to create the folder as well as the file. I basically just use force every time. And when we have the file available, we can open it and customize its content. And as I said, whatever you put into this file, it will get executed. So I can just put it write host hello David, just to demonstrate that if I reopen ISC, this will be here. And ISC does not work from the run. I make mistakes on purpose. At least that's what you should think. Because we all make mistakes every time. And I have the profile, but it's not running. I'm going to make this full screen because there is an execution policy preventing it. This is the default experience, and we need to change the execution policy to enable running it. The default is restricted, and that's why files cannot be executed, not even the profile file. And we should set it to remote signed. The good thing in ISC and in PowerShell as well, but here it's prettier, that it will ask us that do we really want to do this. It also helps to be on your edge, and also if you have admin rights, if you are that lucky, it will help you not do bad things. I tried and it didn't work, but it's going to tell me in the error message that it wants to change a registry, and that registry is on the local machine, and since I'm not an admin, I cannot change that registry key. But there is another way if I use the scope current user, which my presentation also said, so I can rerun it with that line or specifying a scope current user. Also confirm that I am really brave and I want to do this, and this time it will work. And change the execution policy without being an admin. And sometimes remote signed doesn't work. If you download something from the internet, Windows will know. In that case, you can tweak it and set the execution policy to bypass. It doesn't really matter. It's not a real security policy. It's just an execution policy. But after this, if I restart ISC, we should see the hello message. Yes, it worked. The next thing I think we should do is change the error color. As it was mentioned on Monday, seeing red is bad for mental health reasons. And they suggested, I believe, green. And if I make an error, green isn't great on this screen. So I think yellow is our friend, much visible. And because this is not a setting which is persistent, so if we want it to stay with us for every session, we need to put this line into our profile, and this is where customizing our profile starting to make sense. Because if we make a change, we want that change to be persistent. When the profile executes when we start, it's going to set our error color, and we have a persistent yellow color, which is less terrifying than red. It's also helpful if you can see red, or yeah. It was mentioned also that PowerShell Gallery is our place to get our extensions, the modules we can use, like that nice QR code generator. And we can use the find module command to search for modules. And by default, this will not work because it depends on NuGet, which is not part, well, it's there in Windows, but it's not enabled in the proper way, and we need to install the NuGet provider. Luckily, we can do that without admin rights, and we can see stuff being downloaded. If this does not work because you have a corporate proxy and that prevents you to download this DLL, there is a way to do it through a browser, download it, put it into the right folder. It's not hard to find if you search, so it will not prevent us to do this if PowerShell itself cannot call to the internet. We can also find modules with the asterisk in the end and look for other things related to, like import Excel was mentioned as a cool tool to work with spreadsheets or to get the latest version of Pester. And we can usually simply install just by saying install module name, which of course also will not work because by default it wants to write into the program files folder, and of course non-local admin users cannot write into that folder. But if you read the error message, it's going to tell you to use scope current user. And yeah, if the error message is read, I had colleagues who, oh, it's red, doesn't work, and went clicking with the mouse. But running with scope current user, it will install, hopefully. Yes, it's just asking us, do we really want to install from the PS gallery because it's not a trusted repository. Personally, I don't install. I download. There is a save module command, and I look at what I downloaded, make some assessment that is this safe for me, for my workplace. Can I use it? If it's from Microsoft, it's probably safe. If it's Pester and other known publishers, probably safe. If it's something with low download counts, I do check out. I look for words like remove or restart or delete or upload or something, just to make sure that it's not doing anything extra which isn't supposed to be doing. It is not supposed to be doing. When we install with the current scope, it's going to end up in the same Windows PowerShell folder, in the modules subfolder, and here you can find all things all the time. And I wanted to generate a QR code for a safe QR code for that repository in case you want to take a photo or someone wants to use this in the future. Because, as I said, I'm planning to extend the repo with more tips, tricks. I have many things which I cannot squeeze into this session. By the way, my timer is not running, so I still have 45 minutes. Like, I copy a URL from the browser. It has query parameters. Maybe it's a Twitter tweet, and after the question mark, there are tracking stuff there for Twitter, and I have a command which cleans the content of my clipboard and puts back to my clipboard. It's not on GitHub yet, but it's coming, and many other things we can execute easily. And again, look for scope current user. There are many other commandlets which uses this and lets you get away that you don't have admin rights. And the next thing we should, or I'm highly suggesting to do, is use the help system. Simply get help supposed to work, and that copy button went away. Get help supposed to work unless, well, it works, okay. And we can specify whatever we want, like get help, and it's going to run. I'm trying to find something which will not. Did I broke this machine as well? It's supposed to ask you to update the help, but it's clearly not doing that. And update help is not supposed to work when I don't have admin rights. But it works, okay. Yeah, but at work, this is the point where I usually create a ticket to the friendly help desk people and ask them to run update help with admin rights, and they can be convinced usually. And after that, so the way it works, it runs, it looks like it's doing its job, but then it's going to tell that we had errors, and that error is related to failed to update many things, because I'm not running as an administrator, of course. So that's the main thing by PowerShell, that it will look like it's working, but it's not. And for a second you are like, yes, it's running. But again, don't give up. Talk to your local IT admin, get their help. Run update help from an admin PowerShell, like this one, with admin credentials. Sometimes you might need a manager approval, or convince them. If you can't convince them, send them to me. And this will go out, check the stuff on Microsoft's webpage, and update the help content in a minute or two. And basically, that's the only thing you need to do, which really needs admin rights, and you do it once, and after that you have all the goodies, and you can use all the help inline. And the best thing in the help system is that it comes with examples. So if I rerun this, there is all the help, like what are the different parameters and what their types. There is a description, and it tells us other examples how to use the help system, like use dash examples or dash details or whatever, dash full. We can even check the help online with the dash online parameter. And I love examples because most of the times the commandlet authors were nice to create multiple examples. This one actually has 7 examples. So I can figure out how to use the command I want to use, and you can learn a lot, and I learned a lot from this. And we have many other important commands. These are the 6 commands or command variations I highly encourage anyone to check. And I'm going to flip the view of the ISC. So we talked about get help already. Get member is going to tell you what you are working with. you need to specify something you want to see the members. It's member thing. That's a .NET concept. Like there is an automatic variable called host. If I want to check the members of that host, it's going to tell me the actual type, the different methods I can use on the host variable, and the properties of the host variable, and everything in PowerShell is an object, and get-help will tell you all the details you need. And if I make this blue one full screen somehow, it's going to tell you if some property is read-only. That's usually just a get, and some things are read-write, and you see a get and it's set as well. And basically with these things, you can discover most things with the updated help. And of course, get command will help you discover all the commands which are available. There are plenty, and you can filter them like get -*, and you will see all the get commands, or the set commands, or all the commands which ends with computer. And that way, I don't remember stuff. Like my memory is terrible. So if I want to do something, I'm going to use get command with a couple of asterisks to locate the command I need. And then look up the help, check the examples, and hopefully figure out what I want to do with PowerShell. And if that action does not need local admin rights, I can execute the commands. And when I accidentally execute something which I shouldn't, I'm going to get an error. Let's say stop service is one of the things which could stop services. And there is the Win32 time service. This is for time synchronizations with the internet. Not set, sorry. Stop, and this will not work because I don't have admin rights. And I think this is actually the best thing, not that I cannot break my machine, I cannot break the system, I can query Active Directory remotely if I have the modules installed, or call the internet and do queries against API endpoints. But I cannot really mess my computer up so much that I cannot do my work. And this is like, the safety net in the fun park or whatever it's called. And that makes me less nervous. Also, no thread error messages, because, red alert is bad since Star Trek, I guess. And there is one extra whistle, that progress bar, when I executed the install command. Install module pester, scope current user. Yes, error messages. Pester is already installed. Windows comes with Pester, an old version. And the error message will going to tell us we need force to actually install it. So I'm trying again with force. And I had to learn the hard way that when we see that progress bar, which was there for 1.5 seconds, it takes time. If you download something from the internet with invoke web request, there will be a very nice progress bar telling you how much speed it uses, but showing you the progress bar, that's going to slow you down. And what I highly recommend to put set progress preference in your profile to silently continue. That will make the progress bar silent and will speed up lots of things and make you quicker, I guess, in your work. And there is one, it's like black magic. You can set default parameters for commands, and I usually do that for install module. I set the scope to current user, and if I do this, I can stop specifying the scope. Let's find something else. PSWin terminal. This is mine, so I'm trusting it. It will install into my users folder without me specifying the scope, and that way I saved some typing for me. And if I forget specifying the scope, that's fine. The default parameter value will always be current user. And if you use something a lot and there is a parameter you always need to use, this is the way to put it into your profile and save you from typing. But of course, when you switch machines and you forget this setting you had and you type your usual command, assuming that you have these things there, it will not work and you will be confused. Why is this not working? And it happens every time when I get a new machine. Luckily, that's like every 5 years. But it's easy to fix by extending your profile. And as I said, I'm going to add more goodies, and I need to give credit to Mike F. Robbins because I got the idea from him and his PowerShell one-on-one session, which was presented 5 years ago in somewhere in the US, and also to Chrissy because this PS default parameter value is from her, and it's saving me lots of headache. And with that, I think I can go back to the presentation and show this last slide. If my machine works. About the Q&A, in case you have any questions. You know, you are supposed to ask at least 15 dumb questions a day while being here. Thank you. And I forgot to mention that since it's a public GitHub repo, if you have some good tips and tricks you use, submit an issue or a pull request with those things. I'm planning to make this a team of helping anyone without local admin rights to be productive in their work life and, you know, look valuable for their employers and get better raises. Thanks. And in case no questions, thank you. Have a nice rest of the conference and see you around.